Hey everybody, it's Peter coming at you once again from the beautiful Chesapeake Bay on a really glorious day today. Now, I'm taking my morning walk and I was inspired to have a little chat with you once again. So you all know I always like to start out with a question, right? So here's today's question. What do the techniques that are used by Academy Award-winning filmmakers, what do those techniques have to do with how we create and manifest what we want in our own lives? Now, at first glance, it may seem like there's not much connection, but by the end of this video, you're going to see there's actually a direct connection. So in this video, we're going to talk about a concept called the 4 rules of creation. And I'm going to tell you a little story about how I used the 4 rules of creation to overcome astronomical odds and get the job of my dreams a few years ago. And then finally, after that, I'm going to have an offer for you so that you can learn how to use these techniques and employ them in your life as well. All right, so let's dive in here. First of all, credit where it's due. The concept of the 4 rules of creation comes from a marvelous author whose name is Neville Goddard. Now, if you're not familiar with the works of Neville Goddard, highly recommend that you look him up. His stuff is really amazing. So, thank you, Neville. Now, let's dive into the 4 rules of creation. So these 4 roles are, just like you would have in a major film production, the role of the producer, then we also have the author, we have the director, and we have the actor. Now, how do these translate into how we create in our own lives? Well, first of all, we start out with the producer. What's the role of the producer? Just like in film production, the role of the producer is to come up with the overall concept. What's the big picture? What's the outcome that we want from this film? What's the overall story plot going to be, so to speak? Not really involved in all the nitty-gritty day-to-day stuff, but setting the North Star. What's the outcome that we want here? What's the story that we want to tell? Now, once we finish with the role of the producer, we move on next to the role of the author. Now, the author has a really important job. The author's job is to write a detailed screenplay. The author's going to write out that story with all of the emotion that needs to be in it, make it really believable, fill in all the details of the story, all those engaging, captivating details. Now, once the author has done his or her job, we next move on to the director. And the director has a really, really important job. The director's job is to rehearse the actor every single day, to put in that rehearsal time and to practice, getting into the role as if it were really real now. This is actually akin to method acting. If any of you have ever studied acting, I did in college, it was my minor. We learned method acting, and method acting really is, to cut a long story short, getting into the role of the character so much so that you actually make that feel emotionally real for yourself, as if it were real and happening now. So the director's job is to make sure that the actor shows up for rehearsal and rehearses and rehearses and rehearses until the actor can make that role really real for him or herself. And then finally, what's the role of the actor? The role of the actor is to show up for rehearsal, so to speak. And again, practice, and then practice on a consistent basis, living that role as if it were real, feeling that screenplay and his or her role in that screenplay with all the emotion that he or she would feel as if it were really happening now. So let me tell you how I used these 4 rules of creation inadvertently several years ago to get my dream job at the time. So as many of you know, I am a flight attendant in addition to my coaching and consulting practice. I'm a flight attendant just for fun. I really love the job. I do it just a little bit, but it's really super fun. And I want to continue doing that because I enjoy it so much. Now, how did I use the 4 rules to get the flight attendant job? Before I tell you that, let me tell you, it's a really hard job to get. The airline that I work for gets about 160 to 170,000 applications every single year and hires maybe about 1,600 flight attendants. So those are some incredible odds to beat. Some say that the odds of getting into an Ivy League school like Harvard are actually more in your favor than getting selected for a flight attendant job at a major airline. Now, I will tell you, before I started applying these techniques many years ago, I got rejected by every single airline out there. I remember adding it up. I went to 21 interviews and at various levels with different airlines and got a no every time. Then inadvertently, I started using these 4 roles of creation. So what did I do? As the producer, I had a clear picture of where I wanted to go. I wanted to be a flight attendant international for a major airline. Then as the screenplay writer, as the author, I literally wrote out ideally what that would be, where I'd be going, what I'd be wearing, who I'd be working with, where my glorious international layovers would be, wrote that out in detail. Then after that, in my role of director, I made sure that the actor part of me was able to embody that, to imagine it, to immerse myself in it. I remember imagining standing on airplanes, doing the safety demo. I'm in my tailored blue uniform. I'm serving people, having a great time, right? So that was the story. That was the role that I wanted to embody. And the director in me made sure that I showed up for rehearsal every morning when I woke up, every evening before I went to bed, and whenever I had a few spare moments during the day, immersing myself in that as if it were my reality now, just like a little kid pretending. So the director in me made sure that happened. And then finally, the actor in me showed up for rehearsal and made sure that I was working on feeling that reality as if it were real in the present. And let me tell you what happened. Within about 4 months, all of a sudden, airlines were all over me. I got 4 offers, and then I had a problem of having to choose which one I was going to go with. Not a bad problem to have, actually. And here I am today, many years later, still doing that job a little bit as more or less a hobby, just for fun. So, I just wanted to share that with you. I'd love for you to give this a try and to let me know how it works for you. I would love to hear your results. You all know I love to hear your success stories. Now, I do want to wrap up with an offer for you. I've got some openings now for some discovery sessions on how you can use this technique and many, many others to create whatever it is, whatever big goal you want to create in your life. You might be transitioning from a corporate job and wanting to be an entrepreneur and start out on your own. You might want better health. You might want better relationships. You might want more meaning in your life. You might want more financial abundance. So I invite you to book a fun, free discovery call with me. You can actually find the link to booking that call in the video description. And I also invite you to join my Limitless Lifestyle Quest Facebook group. We have a lot of fun in there, a lot of conversations about these types of tools and techniques, a lot of success stories of people who are just really killing it toward the goals that they really want to achieve. And we would love to have you join as well. So just wanted to share that impromptu story with you, everybody. I would love to see you get marvelous results as well, so let me know how that works for you. And I'm going to go ahead and end here, but I do look forward to seeing you in the next video.